Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and another revisiting, it's been fun revisiting a lot of these films I grew up with and really enjoyed. Because I'd rather watch this shit than stuff nowadays that comes out in theaters or whatever the hell. And of course, this is about the original 1985 film Fright Night, starring William Ragsdale, Roddy McDowall, Chris Sarandon, Stephen Jeffries, directed by Tom Holland, who after this would do Fatal Beauty with Whoopi Goldberg. He would do Child's Play. Before this, he had written Psycho 2. And I know that there's a documentary for this film coming out. I pre-ordered it a long time ago because it was supposed to come out like in August or July, and then it got pushed back to Halloween. Then I don't know when it's going to come out, and even when it comes out, I don't know how long it's going to ship here because it's the UK thing. But in the meantime, talk about this. Now, this is a Blu-ray that was sent to me quite a while ago. It was a very nice gift. And it's a Twilight Time Blu-ray. And I'm guessing it's because Twilight Time did this stupid thing where they released two Blu-rays. They released a bare bones Blu-ray, which, hey, I'll take it. It's a gift. And I love the film. It was great to see in HD. And then they released one which had some features, mainly audio commentaries. And I'm guessing the person got the one with the features audio commentaries. He had two copies. But hey, you know what? Instead of just selling it, he gave it to me. And I don't know if I should mention the person. I never know because maybe it'd be like. Sometimes I mention people, then they get pissed, or I mention people like, oh, cool things. So I never know anymore. But if you're watching, thank you so much. This is very kind of you to do so. Always love that cover. Person in the window of the house. Great figure. Which that's actually in the movie, not the mist. Well, there's mist in the movie, but that face is on a person. Amanda Bearse's character at the end of the film. Great score by Brad Fiedel, who of course is famous for the Terminator 1 and 2 score. He did an excellent job on this one. Special effects are top notch. Visual effects are pretty good by Richard Edlund. Makeup effects are great. This is like Rear Window, but what if the neighbor was not just a killer, but a vampire? Played very, very smoothly by Chris Sarandon, who would work with Tom Holland later on in Child's Play. Chris Sarandon, great actor. Roddy McDowall is Peter Vincent, a TV host of the horror movies, and the show is called Fright Night. And usually he's hosting his own movies that he starred in, whereas Peter Vincent, famous vampire killer. Some good reviews here by Variety. Wonderfully simple and entirely believable once the existence of vampires is accepted, of course. Empire Magazine. A tribute to the forgotten joys of traditional horror movies and the enthralling fantasy of vampires. William Ragsdale does a great job as our lead character who he's making out with his woman, but she doesn't want to go all the way. Peter Vincent's Fright Night Theater is playing in the background. And it's showing this really bad vampire movie with Roddy McDowall in it. And it always made me laugh because he gets a stake, vampire, killer, and he holds the stake the wrong way. And it shows, purposely bad. It was a mistake on purpose. And so what happens is William Ragsdale's character sees that there's a coffin being brought in next door, and some new neighbors have moved in. And he doesn't know what's going on. His girlfriend's a little bit mad at him because he's not paying attention to her. Talks with his buddy Stephen Jeffries, who's nicknamed Evil. One day comes home from school, and you get some really fun dialogue, like Well, actually, before that, he sees a very sexy looking woman, probably a hooker, go into the door, and he's studying and he hears a scream. And I always thought this was a very simple but yet very effective shot where, because I could picture myself in this situation. What if you just, one day doing this, and all of a sudden you hear a scream, you just turn, and then the light next door just shuts off. And that push into William Ragsdale's face, like, the fuck was that? You know? And then the next day, watching on TV and find out that that person you saw before was found dead. So it's like, oh shit, there's a killer next door, and then of course, it's not just a killer, it's a vampire. He has some great lines of dialogue, like when he's once again not paying attention to his girlfriend, and she smashes some food in his face, and Stephen Jeffries says, "You're so cool, Brewster." Everyone does a great job. William Ragsdale, I buy him as the lead kid, just a normal guy, and just, as Charley Brewster, trying to just live a normal life, just a normal guy, likable guy. Stephen Jeffries is fun as his buddy. Chris Sarandon just plays a very smooth operator of a vampire. You can tell that, yeah, I would say one of the best vampires out there, Chris Sarandon. I was trying to think, like, nowadays, they want a smooth vampire. You don't really get that with Bela Lugosi, but you do get, maybe they look to this guy, Chris Sarandon. It's like, oh, that's how to play a vampire. Playing very smooth, very calm, but he's still a guy that you like don't want to fuck with. And I really gotta mention the score, because the score is kind of, there's a lot of great songs in it on the soundtrack, like "You Can't Run, You Can't Hide from the Beast Inside," or, oh god, what was the other song? Fuck, try to think of it. That's my favorite song. You can't run, you can't hide. Oh, the other one, Armies of the Night. The armies of the night are coming. They're coming. I'm doing a shitty job of saying, so I should stop. But the armies of the night, um, the beast inside, a lot of good songs, but the score is really, really good. Do 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 do. Just either in the quiet moments or when the action hits the fan and the shit really hits the fan. Brad Fidel. What I'm trying to point out is that the score doesn't get talked about enough, in my opinion, when they talk about Fright Night. And the score is a good, essential piece of the puzzle of Fright Night. And some really good direction by Tom Holland. It makes sense because he wrote Psycho 2, which was a sequel to an Alfred Hitchcock film. So I think he learned some tricks while doing research for writing that film. I like the scene when Charley Brewster's staring outside and he sees Chris Sarandon with a girl. See a little bit of tits, and then some fangs and some nails. Then Chris Sarandon realizes they're being watched, and sort of that down down great score and slow of the nails pulling down the shade. And Charlie's like, what the fuck? And goes outside. You have that POV from the roof to the ground as if it's a bat to a human. And you tell that Chris Sarandon, he's fucking with Charley Brewster. Like, he gets this apple, just takes one bite, but takes the whole thing out and just throws at him to scare the shit out of him. Like, look what I can do in one bite, motherfucker. I can take this whole apple, it's your face. And one bite is gone. And Charlie, what does he do? He gets the cops. Makes sense. And the cop is actually Art Evans, who I remember from Die Hard 2. And unfortunately, Charlie opens up his mouth, and he should have played a bit better, but he spills some beans, and of course the cop doesn't believe him. Tossed to Stephen Jeffries, finds out little things about vampires. A cross. I like the idea that it's not just a cross; you have to have total faith in it as well. I like that idea. Garlic states his mom, Charley Brewster's mom, fucks him over because she invited Chris Sarandon, and now he's like, "Oh, I could come in anytime I want." And then you get that little confrontation in his room where comes out, he sneaks in, hides in the closet, comes out, grabs Charlie, throws him into his own closet, ready to fuck up, William Ragsdale, and fucking pencil it in the hand. And that makeup from total vampire mode and easing down to half vampire, half Chris, and then just normal. It's a really good makeup work. I really do look forward to the documentary because I really want to hear a lot more about. Just these were always films that I never understood why they didn't get special editions, DVDs, Blu-rays. Why the fuck is the sequel not on DVD? Well, because of the rights issues, because the company and the Menendez brothers, and I'll talk about that one, talk about the second film, but still is bullshit. Fright Night 2 should be available instead of a shitty bootleg I have that's pretty much a VHS copy. But anyway. But I would say, I mean, I like Fright Night 2, but I would say I like this more. Because it does this nice build up where it starts off with him hearing a scream, seeing a coffin. What's that? Hearing a scream, finding out bits of info. Then it builds up to a little confrontation in a room. Then it builds up like, oh shit, maybe Peter Vincent who got fired, and he's like, they want Madman and Steve Mass hacking up young virgins. Which by the time this came out, that was true. Think about 1985. No one was doing vampire movies. Man, the last one was a Love at First Bite, or that, what was that Dracula one with? I think there was like a 70s remake of Dracula. I mean, well, Once Bitten with Jim Carrey. I mean, not too many. And then after, I think after this you got was it after this you got the Lost Boys? God, I forgot, when was the Lost Boys? 87? Yeah, it was 87. So the Lost Boys, yeah, it was after this. So I think this guy's success and this, oh, Lost Boys, oh, put a Dracula in the Monster Squad and so forth. So I think this helped in sort of reinvigorating a little bit of the vampire stuff. And then even the early 90s, you had Bram Stoker's Dracula. I'm not saying, I doubt Francis Ford Coppola knows shit about this movie, but I'm just saying, when this becomes a surprise hit, it helps. And Roddy McDowall was my favorite role as Peter Vincent. I really, really do miss the guy. I wish he was still here. I would love to hear his thoughts on these movies. I think he would be gushing talking about these movies. It really seemed like he loved playing that character. Because he wanted to do a third movie with, I think, Tom Holland, and then the whole thing with Fright Night 2 release and the company heads, kids killed him and his wife and all that shit. The Menendez brothers thing. And but it seemed like, again, Peter Vincent really loved this character, and it shows. And he just had such joy. It's so much fun. He's really funny. Like when the girlfriend and Stephen Jeffries finds Charley Brewster in his room, and he's like, okay, he's got all candles and garlic. He's gonna go off to kill Chris Sarandon, and of course they don't believe him. They meet Peter Vincent, and they offer him money, and he's like, oh, I'll take it. It's like, okay, so what you want? You want an interview with your paper? You want an autograph? And they're like, this is more important than that. And he's like, what's more important than my autograph? Saving a boy's life? Oh yeah, yeah, that would be more important. uh, he has so much joy and just great what they do with the character, because he is sort of the cowardly lion. He is scared to death. He even admits in one good scene that he's scared to death. But then at the end, he mans up and he pulls through. It's a great arc for that character. When they did the remake, I didn't buy that at all because it was like, oh, this guy already knew there was vampires, and because as a kid his parents died, and then but then it's like he still was a chicken shit. Then whatever. I just didn't. The remake sucks, and on all levels. Rest in peace to Anton Yelchin. I still don't like that remake. I hate it. I think it's a piece of shit. I don't like the sequel to the remake, but it's not really a sequel. It's just called Fright Night 2. That's a piece of shit as well. To me, the only Fright Nights are this one and its sequel. Both with William Ragsdale and Roddy McDowall. And they all go over next door and they fool Charlie into saying, oh, see, he's not a vampire. But then Peter Vincent has his mirror and sees there's no reflection. He drops it, breaks off a piece of the mirror, and he realizes something's up. And then Chris Sarandon realizes something's up. And he gets Stephen Jeffries, stalks him. Our two leads, William Ragsdale's girlfriend, get chased to a club. That's where he gets some really good songs. Armies of the Night, You Can't Run, You Can't Hide from the Beast Inside, that song as well. I always remember that Chris Sarandon kills these two club guys. And one of the guys, I believe, is from Friday the 13th Part 3. The guy who is one of the bikers. And you think he's dead, then he comes back at the end and Jason kills him again. I believe he's one of the bouncers and he gets slashed and killed. Then the bigger guy gets thrown. And then if you look closely, especially on the Blu-ray, I didn't realize, you see when the guy's on the ground, his throat's been ripped out. And I didn't notice it because there's like blood on his neck and stuff. I thought he just got knocked out because you just see him grabbed and thrown. But yeah, you see, again, HD, his throat's been ripped out. I'm like, oh, okay, yep, that guy's dead too. And the girl gets taken. At that time, Stephen Jeffries now is Evil Ed. Great performance, a lot of energy to Stephen Jeffries' role. And tries to attack Peter, and it will get a cross on Evil Ed's forehead. Gives a really nice makeup in the flick. And Charlie goes to Peter Vincent, and he said, I can't do this. So Charlie goes at it alone because Peter's like, oh, I'm terrified of this. But it's really cool to see Roddy McDowall become this hero. He joins up, but then things don't go as planned. Peter tries to use the cross, and even Chris Sarandon says, you have to have faith for this to... I fucked it up. What was it? You have to have faith for this to work on me, Mr. Vincent. And Charlie gets knocked out, and Peter Vincent runs off to Charlie's place, and there's Evil Ed. And this is when he finally mans up to become a hero. Because Evil Ed turns to a wolf and he kills him. Great transformation scene from wolf to human. I mean, people talk about the transformation scenes in American Wolf in London and The Howling, and those are great. But transformation scenes in this are pretty damn good too. In this scene here, where you see the wolf hand becoming human and skin sort of growing and becoming, 5 fingers, and the human body and wolf-like face, and then turning to. Granted, it's not all done in one shot, but still, it's pretty damn good. I like that Peter Vincent feels bad. He's not unemotional. This is still a kid, a teen. And you see like tears in Peter Vincent's eyes, and he feels bad for this, but it had to be done. And when he yanks that stake out, he's determined, and he's now the vampire killer. And it's just being a big fan of Roddy McDowall. I love him in The Legend of Hell House. I love him in he's in Class of 1984. Of course, the Planet of the Apes films. Roddy McDowall just always one of those guys that just always a joy to watch, and easily my favorite role of his. Because he's very funny, he has a great arc to him, and he gets to be a great hero, and is sort of coward hero at the end. And He mans up, goes over there, gets Charlie, shoots Jonathan Stark, who's like the subordinate of Chris Sarandon, and he just won't stop. He keeps coming up no matter how many times getting shot. Bullet to the forehead. Charlie stabs him. Another great scene where he melts. He fucking melts and turns to skeleton and goo and all this stuff falling off of him. Great melting scene. Turns to a fucking skull that slides on the ground. And some really well done scenes. Chris Sarandon smashing through the window, and Roddy McDowall barely ducking before he gets his head taken off. This time, Roddy McDowall uses the cross, and it does work. He has faith in it this time. And all the clots raining. Look over your shoulder. The sun's rising up. Turns to a bat, taps Roddy McDowall, and bites Charlie, and Roddy's able to blast it with the sun, and it disappears, and they go down to the basement. Charlie deals with his girlfriend in this great look makeup effect. Love that effect. Such a great look for a vampire. And Roddy McDowall closes the casket of Jerry Dandrige, Chris Sarandon's character, and they breaking out all the lights. All the windows to let the light come in, and just boom, explodes in a heap. Ends on a good note. The other sort of weird thing at the end where you see maybe eyes next door, and then you hear Evil Ed's laugh. I don't really know what was the point of that, because Evil Ed is clearly dead. I know there was talk of Stephen Jeffries coming back for the sequel. I'm like, he's clearly dead. We saw him die, so I'm actually glad he didn't do the sequel, because it would not have made sense for him to be alive. And I don't know if that bit at the end was just for shits and giggles or what. And of course, you have that song, Fright Night, Fright Night. I don't remember much fucking lyrics to songs. Give me a break. But again, I love the build-up of things from just a casket going in and a girl that's disappeared and hearing the scream to a little confrontation to then this big confrontation at the end dealing with guys that are like, I don't know what you call Jonathan Stark's character, or a ghoul or whatever it is, just not dying. Peter Vincent dealing with this, Stephen Jeffries turned to a wolf, dealing with this big bat, and then dealing with vampires in the basement. And it does a great build-up of events. The pacing is perfect. I never got bored at all. The Brad Fiedel score is great. The songs are fun to listen to. Great soundtrack. William Ragsdale does a wonderful job as Charley Brewster. He's very likable. He's a normal teen guy. Roddy McDowall is fantastic. Very fun to watch him as Peter Vincent. Love his character. My favorite character he's done. Chris Sarandon, I would pick him as the best vampire. It's hard. There's Kiefer Sutherland as well in The Lost Boys, so that's tough. He's easily one of the best vampires out there. Easily one of the best. Smooth, charming, but also dangerous. And was there a good enough pace? Wasn't boring at all. Twilight Time sucks. This is limited edition of 3,000 units. So great, if you're a fan of Fright Night, you can't get the Blu-ray. I got lucky because someone was nice enough to send this to me. And then they released a Blu-ray with features, which again, yeah, I know this doesn't have the features, this one. But I'm fine with it because it was a nice gift. Still a nice gift. And hey, if that documentary comes in whenever, there should be a shitload of stuff, info on that. So, Tom Holland did a great job. And I would say this is my favorite Tom Holland movie. I still really enjoy Child's Play. But of the two, I would say this is my favorite Tom Holland film. And my favorite film, Roddy McDowall. It might be my favorite No, From Dusk Till Dawn is my favorite vampire movie. From Dusk Till Dawn is my favorite. This might be my second favorite then. vampire movie. And then The Lost Boys would probably be third. So yeah, probably From Dusk Till Dawn, this Fright Night, and The Lost Boys. That'd be my top 3 favorite vampire movies. So, love this film to death. It's a great joy to watch. It was fun to watch for the Halloween season. So, hope I didn't bore you too much with the review. Thanks for watching. Take care. And I will review the sequel. And on top of that, you know what? I'm going to check out From Dusk Till Dawn again. And I'll review that. Since I'm in a vampire mood. See you later.